Hello, Chris Strait here with BetUS.com. Wanted to talk about last Friday's Strikeforce. I was actually very struck by the victory of Justin Wilcox, and not just because they told his story about having to struggle and commute and be away from his family and lack of day job and all that, and this was his big time to shine. But also just because I'd seen, he only had 2 stoppage wins out of 10, 1 submission, 1 knockout. And in MMA, that's rare to go the distance and win decisions 8 times. I mean, it might have been a DQ in there. But I realized that the rare times that I see that, it's usually by a wrestler. And I figured out what the problem is. They only learn how to throw punches in a shooting fashion, like it's shooting to the floor. And so they don't really put a lot behind it. They're kind of flying, almost kickboxing style with their punches. And when they get someone on the ground, it's not submission-oriented like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is. It's more about getting a hold and controlling the action. So maybe they wear guys down, but for the most part, they control action and can win decisions that way. But the wrestlers really don't have an outgame to end the fight. And it didn't really even happen this time. He just beat up his opponent so aggressively with a cut, and it was impressive to see, to watch him dominate a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt on the ground. And it was just through sheer activity that he was able to keep him down, and that was the strength of a wrestler. But I think, and I'm just sort of putting this out there, maybe this gets a debate going, but as far as how to put wrestlers in their best chances in MMA, the basics, obviously, teach them striking. But, it's to sort of sit down on their punches and to just add the finishing touches to wrestling. You don't need to make a BJJ black belt out of them to get them good at submissions, but there's too much movement in their holds. I think they'd be able to finish more guys off, and they're great at getting out of holds. I mean, obviously, as you saw, a BJJ black belt could do nothing with him, and there were plenty of opportunities there for arm bars, even rear naked as he was spinning out. But for the strikes to get, instead of shooting forward, to teach them counter-punching. On the boxing end, I would teach the wrestlers counter-punching and how to goad guys into making mistakes. It would even help their holds. And also just the wrestling movement is great to dominate action on the ground, but add the other element of submission holds. Because this is a short career for somebody who goes the distance every time, even more so than in boxing. And MMA, I mean, if you're going 3, 5-minute rounds all the time, especially championship level fights, there's 25 minutes of that kind of bruising on the ground action. You just can get beat up even in fights that you win. It's those, when half your fights end by first round KO or submission, as most of them do at the top level, you can have more longevity. And so that was the idea. I was struck by the victory for Wilcox and how he's come out, but I think those are the elements to add to a wrestler's game, and they can be much more of a force in MMA. I'm Chris Strait with BetUS.com.